Welcome to Women Talk. I'm Joyce. It's been said that women talk about everything, anything, anytime, and anywhere. I recently attended a conference. 10 minutes before the speaker welcomed the audience, I eavesdropped on the conversation of the two women seated behind me. They didn't know each other, but they began to chat about the conference, the facilities, the amenities, and the programs. In the 10 minutes, they were able to know one another's names, the organizations they work for, what type of work they did, and the type of medical insurance they each had, even the proximity of their homes to the conference center, and who would be signing up for membership. Welcome to Women Talk. Today is an opportunity for women to share and maybe acquire new knowledge from one another. Today's guests are Joan and Joyce. Before I introduce today's topic, let's meet our guests.
Good morning, if it's morning when this is being shown. I'm glad to be here, always to support you, Joyce.
Thank you, Joan.
And good morning. My name is Joyce, just like our host here, and it's good to be here. Good to be here.
You know, this is the first time that I've had two women on the show who were so modest about what they do, where they come from. But it's okay.
Oh, I should have said something.
Oh, you can say anything you like.
Oh, okay.
But today's topic, because it's March, this is Women's Month, and we're at the end of it.
Okay.
March is a time designated to celebrate women's contributions to history, culture, and society. It also provides an opportunity to share stories, raise awareness of the diversity of women's experiences. After all, women have been around since the dawn of time. So ladies, let's talk about women who inspired you, and let's talk about your youth, because I know everybody's going to say their mother.
Well, yes and no from my point of view. My mother was an exceptionally bright woman, always wanted to be a doctor. So my love of holistic medicine and things of that nature I gained from my mother, plus she was very talented. But her father, my grandfather, was what inspired me. He was a Polish immigrant that every day of his life he learned 3 new words. He never wanted to be an immigrant. So he would take Polish words, translate them to English, write them in a ledger and what they meant. I was awed by him. Plus, he would take me into the garage with him. He used to be a blacksmith from Poland. And he made every brick for my aunt's house. And I watched him. He had a smithy, a forge, and he made every nail. So he'd say, come on, Junik. He'd put me on the grindstone like a bike, and I would sharpen the nails. I just thought, when he passed, a part of my heart went with him, and he was only 60. And my father, another man, he could do anything. And I would watch him faithfully, because I just loved the smell of wood when he was building something. And he really, literally, not much education, could do anything. He bought me my first little jigsaw. But then he would say to me after a while, I don't want you watching me anymore. I says, why not? He says, because then you won't need me, because you do better than I do. But I'm blessed with the background of my men in my family. And my late husband could basically do anything also. But God gave me the abilities and the perseverance. That's my biggest thing, is perseverance. I will never say I can't do anything. As I told you earlier, I could do everything but plumbing and automotive. Everything, literally. And gardening being one of my passions. I love doing stained glass, which I should get back to doing. I used to have a little business. But I was a mom to 4 children. And I've got 10 grandchildren, 10 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't mess around. They went straight for it. But no, I really believe that all you have to say is positive affirmations. I am capable. I am prosperous. I am able to do whatever God puts in front of me. I just believe that so firmly.
Okay, Joyce.
Wow, that's
Who inspired
wonderful.
you in your youth?
Wow, in my youth, actually, it was a lady from church, and I came from a family. We had 9 children, and I was the 8th child, born on the 8th month. You know, they called me the knee baby because, you know, my mother had my little sister, and she got the lap, and I got the knee. So that's why my nickname was Knee Baby. So,
That's cute.
but there were so many of us that I didn't get a lot of attention at home. So I started to follow my mother around all the time. So everybody would say I was always hanging on to her leg. Wherever she went, I was like right there. So I learned how to cook, clean, wash clothes, and I enjoyed doing that. So and we were just talking about the roles of women in different times in our, you know, like 50 years ago, women, that's what they did. You know, a lot of them did not leave the house, and if they did, they worked, and then they came back home and did all the work at home.
Well, that depends on where the women were from.
Okay.
Because that's true, but if you came from a rural area,
Yes, it was rural.
you
yes.
did much more than just the work at home. You did the work out in the field.
That's
I
true.
remember once I was about 10, and my dad is from Charleston, and he took us down there, and he took us, I call it the backwoods, to visit some family members.
Okay.
And they actually had a rice paddy. Okay?
Wow.
And I remember my aunts, we called them aunts, they were no relation to the family, but you know, that's what
Yes,
they
oh,
did
yeah, we
back
call
then.
them
Everybody
aunties.
was some form of family. They took me into the rice paddy. And I remember, you know, we wore skirts. So you had to haul your skirt up and kind of tie it
Yeah, I
so that
remember
your legs would be hanging out, and you would go into this muddy type water.
Wow.
And then you would take a basket and you could pull up the rice.
Wow.
Okay, and you could, you know,
Wow.
like a strainer, so
Right.
that the water would
Yeah.
come dripping out. And then
That's
you
interesting.
toss the rice
Yes.
onto the, I guess the ground, it wasn't sandy, where
Like
it could dry out.
a burlap bag.
So
or
that it
something.
could
Okay.
dry out and then you could take it up. But I remember thinking that was so much fun, you know, wallowing in some dirty water. But the thing that stopped me when I went back again was in that water were snakes.
Oh, good grief.
Oh yeah, I was getting ready to say
That would freak me
Okay.
out. Well, I don't like snakes.
Well, that's why I never went back again. But I remember that women did so many different things depending upon where
Yes.
you live.
Where you
That's so
live. That's
true.
right.
That is so true. I mean,
That's right.
I think about my father's upbringing. He was 7 years old, and they lived in Woodbridge, and their parents bought property in Avenel. They left him at 7 years old. He was a big boy to stand guard to the building materials so nobody should steal them at night. And he raised me to appreciate making something out of nothing. He worked for a scrapyard. He was in charge of the mechanics. And he would bring stuff home and say, I know you could do something with this. He would always challenge me, and I always did. But the boss that he had, Mr. Goldberg, when they bought this terracotta plant, he said, Joni, you could have whatever you want. I said, I want the buildings. He said, you want the buildings? Because the bricks were held together with mortar. And I saw a lot of possibility with those bricks. I made brick sidewalks, had a brick wall on my downstairs kitchen. And the boss got the biggest kick out of me because I was pregnant, and I'd go down there at lunchtime with my dad, and I'd chip off the mortar.
And clean it up.
And clean it up, right. Wow. Plus, I got off the wall of their showroom, this massive thing. It was a mother and baby elephant plaque. This company made fenestrations for buildings, Bangladesh. And they had to take it out of the building. It was a mother and baby elephant, and with a crane, bring to my house on a big truck. My dad lag bolted. I had a very beautiful, very tropical basement, African decor. And I remember my kids going to the park, and they said, "What's your mom doing?" "Oh, she's painting elephants." He says, "That doesn't surprise us." But I mean, I was raised to think differently. He'd come home from work with a load of wood in a truck. Unload the truck. Just because I was a girl didn't mean that I couldn't unload the truck.
That's right.
That's what we did. Sift the ashes,
That's right.
you know, because you saved every clinker.
That's right. That's right.
But it was a good time, though.
yeah. Haul the water.
Well, we didn't. We had water.
When I would go to the South, that's what they did.
Yeah.
They hauled the water.
Yes.
Now, my family was in the city, so we didn't do all of those things.
Right.
Okay. But I would love to go down there and go out to what I call the back country and go out there and do all kinds of different things.
Right.
Now, I'm quite sure that if you had asked me to do that on a regular,
I don't think so.
I would not want
Yeah.
to do it. But it became fun, and so we did it. And then I remember we would go into the field, my cousins and I, and they were all females, and we would look at all of the vegetables or whatever they were growing, and that's how we had lunch.
That's cool.
That's how I learned to eat okra, because they would just clean it off and you eat
Yeah.
the okra, and they had tomatoes and they had
we
spring
were berry
beans.
pick.
Okay.
We loved to pick berries.
Yeah, okay.
we
Did that
had
too.
berries
We
for
did
lunch,
that. Okay.
and we had our mason jars
Full of berries.
full of berries.
Yeah.
Yes, but I wanted to get back to my story. I was
Okay.
talking about our youth who we loved, who inspired us. Well, there was a lady named Miss Dribbling. Miss Dribbling was a Sunday school teacher. In fact, she was head of the Sunday school at that time. And because I didn't get a lot of attention at home, when I went to Sunday school, I just loved it. And she would hug me and she would give me certain things. In fact, she picked me to go on a trip with her to Florida. It was a Sunday school convention. So this was my first trip on an airplane.
Wow.
Back then, we didn't go on airplanes. We got in
Wow.
the station
Right,
wagon
right.
and went. And not only that, she showed me the beaches, and I went in, and I remember that I never went and got my hair done. But when I went with Florida to her, I went in the water, my hair got all messed up, and I couldn't do it. And she took me to a beauty parlor.
Oh, wow.
And I said, one day, I want to have enough money so I could travel, I could, because we lived in the country. I mean, there was only 2 houses on the whole block.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to get out and see things. And that's who inspired me, Miss Dribbling. To get out
that's
and
great.
do something different other than, being hanging onto my mother's leg all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, she really inspired me. And she also played the piano, but I wasn't into things like that.
Okay.
I just wanted to travel. I wanted to do something different,
That's awesome to have
Yeah.
that was an angel in your life.
Yes,
That
she was an
in your
angel
life.
in my life. And not only that, to giving. She was a giving person. And so that's how I got into helping people and just seeing a need. It doesn't have to be always monetary,
right.
but it's just something that somebody may need a hug, or someone, may need a coat. Because I had 3 kids. They were 4 years apart, and I always had extra clothes. And so if I went to school and I saw someone that needed something, I would always give it to them. Or if we went somewhere, I'd always tell the kids to invite someone to come with us. And, it's just being kind to someone. And that's what she taught me to do, to look at someone and see their need and see if you can help them. And that's very, it's a
like
very
you.
simple.
I like you.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's
really,
a very simple
her
thing,
for what?
but it means a lot.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, we need more people that are empathetic, that can see past it, because
That's true.
there's so many people that are in rooms with a whole lot of people, but yet they're by themselves.
That's right.
They
That's
feel
right.
like they're by themselves. And so we really have to start reaching out, and that's what I want to do with my retirement now, is to just, I can go to the store and have conversations with people. You do.
I hear her in the supermarket.
Oh, yeah. My mother.
so much fun.
My mother
It
would.
is.
My mother would say, they'd say, when my mom was allowed to go shopping, they said, aren't you always with your daughter? Find a circle. She's in the middle. I can't run in and out of a store. It doesn't work that way. But you know what? There are sometimes, just to tell someone, gee, your hair looks great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That one kind,
compliment.
I work
Yes.
every day, seriously, and with your philosophy. But I try to do a good deed every day.
Yes.
Something
It's
nice
important.
that if everybody did one nice thing, not 10 even, one, what a better world this would
That's
be.
right.
I stopped a lady one time. She was coming out of ShopRite. She had a black cloud on her head, actually. She was so depressed. So I told her my seriously. So I had to tell her my stupid joke.
Okay.
And the stupid joke says, "How do you catch a unique rabbit?"
Oh, okay.
And she looks at me like
You
I
sneak
asked
up
her.
on it.
Like
You
you
sneak
did.
up on it. I met you in ShopRite. And she laughed so hard. She says, "I needed that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much."
And-
But you
and
sneak up on
sometimes
it.
that's
Yeah, mine is
necessary.
not jokes.
My other favorite one is, why did this scarecrow win the Nobel Peace Award?
I have no idea.
Hey, he was outstanding in his field.
Oh.
Is that? But you know, it's those silly, stupid things that sometimes brighten somebody's day.
Yes.
And it's
But it's also another opportunity to learn.
Yes.
One of the women who I feel I learned from were two women who I always think about, and they were Shirley Chisholm and Bella Abzug.
oh yes,
I lived in Brooklyn, so I got to know
Okay.
both of them.
that's great.
Wow.
Okay, and
Okay.
they used to call her Bud Battling Bella because she would take on any issue,
Okay.
any problem, and so I think I got a little bit of that. Because if I see, you
Yes.
talk about a good deed, but if I see somebody being wronged,
Yes, you speak
I
up.
want to speak
Yes.
up and open my mouth.
agree with you.
Okay, because people stay silent and turn their heads and talk about it
Later
to their
on.
neighbor or in a group of friends about what they saw, but they don't get involved.
I
And
agree.
you don't have to get involved openly
Yes.
because today you can get hurt.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, you gotta-
but you can get involved. You can, as you say, you can size up a person and know that if they need help, and you can
Yes.
get involved that way.
That's true.
I watched a woman. She was a manager. I won't even say at what store, and I was in, and she was chastising. The man must have been 80 or 90, I don't know, and he had taken an apple. Okay, and she saw it. And so she's over there. How dare you? And I mean, she's screaming at this man, okay? And he's looking so lost. And I went over and I stood for a while, okay? And then I took out my phone and I took a picture of her and the man. And you know what? It stopped her and she turned and she walked away.
Good.
So there are different ways that you can at
Yes.
least make people aware of their behaviors, or you can rescue someone. And then I bought the
Yes.
apple for the man because apparently he
Yes,
had no
he did.
money, but he went in the store and he really wanted that apple. And he might have been loaded.
Who knows? You never know nowadays.
You know-
You never know.
You know, in life, certain things affect you. And I know when my daughter passed, she had died of massive cerebral hemorrhage suddenly. I was in the hospital. My husband had surgery. And a little boy, I got off on the wrong floor. I was going to go to the cafeteria. And a little boy came out of his room with a chemo bag. And it said Nick's room on there. And I had a grandson that age with the name Nick. God spoke to me. I know he did. He says, you got to do something. So for 14 years, I became a platelet donor for cancer people.
Oh, wow.
And this is a weird story. I loved the nurses. We became dear friends and whatnot. I used to go once a month on my day off. So after a certain age, you can't give anymore. You can't donate, which I did not know.
Interesting.
No, it's been a while now. I'm coming through South Plainfield recently, and I see a blood donor sign at a building from Robert Wood. Something said I had to go pull in. I had to go in there. I opened the door. 5 nurses screamed, "We were just talking about you." It was destiny that I went there.
Yeah.
How weird is that, ain't it? And of course, they all hugged and kissed me. We're going to get together for lunch. But it was nice because at 14 years, if a doctor didn't want to go to a function, they paid big time. Take Joni. I was the renter person. Yes. I'd go to nurses. Take Joni. I still go to functions at one of my former bosses when I was 16, and he buys tickets. Take Joni. I'm the renter person, you know, the filler. But it's nice that you're respected with that regard. But you have to be nice to people.
Yeah.
You have to give.
Yeah.
You have to give back to the world, and it does come. Karma does come back.
Oh, yeah.
It does come back to you. I'm waiting for the lottery myself, though.
And that'll be the karma coming back. You think?
I would love it a little bit. I'd share it radically. I would share radically. But anyway, it's now being kind is one of the biggest things important to me.
And give when you can.
Meeting
you
you
give
was
platelets.
fun.
I give blood all the time. You know, I'm a blood giver.
But I can't.
But I got, you know, and I'm an O, and they always
Oh,
need.
yeah. I'm A negative too. They blood for.
So I'm an O,
I'm
so I
A
can give
negative,
blood,
and that's
they
also
love me, see me
15%
coming.
of the population. But the nicest part with that, in that 14-year period that I did that, I got a call from the hospital that a doctor requested whoever gave his got the blood from this I could get choked up when I think about this 37-year-old woman rebounded so from my blood. She had 3 small kids. That if would I be there for her? So I have another daughter someplace. I lost one, but God gave me one out there. But that I still could get very emotional about it.
What a story.
Isn't that beautiful? I mean,
You know, I'm sitting here with, and I'm going to say 2 determined, tenacious women
Yes.
who just decide when you want to do something, you're
do
just
it.
going to do
Yes.
it. Okay? No thought about it, but you do think about it when I think about what you guys said. Because when you get up in the morning, if you're determined to do one good thing, and you're looking to size people up, in a sense, you've preconceived what you want to do during your day.
Yes.
Think about that.
That's
okay?
true.
And so
Yes.
you can, one would almost say you go out looking for it. I don't know if that's reality or not, but you go
But it
out
usually
looking
comes to
for it.
me.
Yeah.
People
okay.
No, I think it's innate. It's innate within us. You know, and
Yeah.
it's just part of who we are. And the nicest compliment, though, that I ever got, though, is from a nephew of mine, who I'm 8 years older. He had a lousy life. His mother ran away, and my brother was not a good father. But I adored him, and I was his only mother figure. I was 8. He's a retired Air Force captain, and he told me recently, and he lives in California, and he's very spiritual. One of his sons a minister. I am who I am because of you, and the love you gave me. That you can't ask
No.
for a better. He says, and he couldn't call me Aunt Joni, he called me Nani. Nani, he says, I am who I am because of you and the love you gave me.
Isn't
And he
it
looks older than
wonderful?
me.
The names that children give you. Isn't it wonderful?
Yes.
Yeah, I love
You
it.
just said Nani, and I think of people who say nanny, and there are those who
Bobby.
Bubby, I'm Mimi to my grandchildren, and there are so many names. What do you call them?
Nana.
See?
I like grandma. I like
Yeah,
grandma.
I'm a Nana.
I like grandma.
No, they
I think
call
it's
me
just warm and
Nanny.
loving.
Nanny.
And I said, no,
emphasis.
Daddy.
I have a thing with my my grandchildren that we always end the conversation. Who loves you, baby? Grandma does. Who loves you? And they go back like Kojak used to do. Who loves you, baby?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And then we go more,
Who
more,
loves
more,
you,
more,
baby?
more. You love me more. I love you more. Yes. Yeah.
Dating yourself.
I don't care. I know who I am. I'm not 16. I know that.
Wow. Half the group won't know who Kojak was.
Well, they better Google it.
Oh, wait a
They
minute.
gotta
Wasn't he
Google it.
the ball-headed?
No.
Which was the
I don't
ball-headed
think-
one?
Wasn't he the lollipopper?
Oh, yeah,
my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't even
I
know.
watched.
Oh, okay.
I watched TV back then.
Yeah, that's
But one of the last things I think I took from my mom was speaking. I don't know if any of you had to do this when we were young. You know, they would put you in church programs, and everybody had to
Always.
speak.
Yeah.
You know, you had to
Always.
get up before all these people and say
Yes.
some, I'm going to use the term, stupid little sentences. Okay. And who's sitting on the front clapping for you? But your mothers, okay?
But that's great.
So, yeah, but that's where I got my love of just speaking.
And mine was
Yes.
a nun put me into it in grade school, in Catholic school. She was very theatrical. So the time I was there, I was never in class. I was always on stage, always rehearsing for something. So from third grade on up until my marriage to my children's father, I was always on stage, some kind of police, church, whatever. So now years go by, and it was a year and a half ago, I'm in a restaurant, and this gentleman says, in a buffet, he says, "Gee, you're so ebullient." He says, "I'm writing a screenplay. How would you like to be in it?"
Wonderful.
See, Catholic girls didn't go into the movies. They'd be like joining the carnival. You just didn't. It's just, not in my family. I was raised.
I don't want to stop you, but I know that we are coming to an end. And I want to see, Joyce, do you have any last things you want to share out here?
Oh, last things I want to share. I was just thinking about
How
something
were you
that your mother,
motivated, inspired?
I was inspired by my mother because my mother was a missionary. She would go sit and talk with the older people that were sick and people with a whole lot of children. She would, and now that's what I do a lot. I go and I make soup. And they tell me, my nieces tell me that, she said, my soup, I have healing soup. And so I just take a lot of vegetables and boil them up. But that's basically how I do it.
Okay.
But that's what, inspired me to help out people was my mother, because that's where she would go and sit and talk with someone that was, was sick and pray with them. And she would always say, don't stay more than a half an hour, because they need their rest, a half an hour, and that was it.
Half an hour because you had to get up and go to the
Yes,
next person.
yes.
Okay, that's really why they could tell you that, because their list was long
Yes.
about who they were going to see, and
Yeah.
what they were going to do.
That was nice.
And
So that's, so that's basically what I got from, helping people again.
that talk speaks to what we bring.
Yes.
Okay, what we bring to the world, what we bring to groups, what we bring to our families,
Yes.
and what'll be picked up. And I'm looking at one of the folks telling me that we're out of time.
Oh, okay.
And I can't believe we're out of time already.
Yeah, that was so quick.
However, and everybody, you were nervous about, what am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? And we have lots to talk about.
Yes.
But let's not forget that there's still a lot of work to do to bring people together, to impact gender equity, because women are still fighting
That's right.
Yes.
for equal rights. And so there's a lot of
Equal
work
pay.
that women do. And how we do it depends on each woman if they just give of themselves.
Yes.
Amen.
But I just want to say thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Joan.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you. for
I
inviting
love the
me.
fact that I have
3 J's.
3
again.
days again. Okay, it makes it wonderful. I also want to thank our guests and our viewers, but I also want to thank the PCTV crew, because they are always willing to sit here, and I love the fact that we all screamed when you tried to get up out your seats.
Yes.
So if you have a topic or you wish to participate as a guest, you can send an email to colesj7@gmail.com. That's me, Joyce. Or you can call me at 848-264-6735. Next month's topic is going to be crafting. Doing what you do best. Because I have met so many crafters.
Yeah.
I just get excited about people who can do crafts, because Joyce can't do crafts.
You don't say that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Don't do crafts. Well, I don't enjoy doing crafts.
See, I do.
that.
No, I do big construction.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
I love my stained glass.
Okay. But, ladies, we've come to an end
And-
officially, and I want to say thank you again.
Oh, you're
It was a joy.
welcome.
It was a joy.
Yeah, it
was.
was. I had a good time.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. But of course, I love her.
Nice meeting you
Okay.
also.